Okay, now we're learning in the Dvar Malchut the royal words of the Rebbe that he spoke in a speech that he gave in 1991. And it happened to be that in that year, that the fast day of the 17th day of Tammuz, which by us, that's going to be this coming Sunday early in the morning. This coming Sunday is going to be the 17th day of Tammuz. But by the Rebbe, it fell on Shabbat. And when it falls on Shabbat, so that pushes away the fast day. So pushing away the fast day means that it's possible to push it off. And it says in the Gemara that even more, since it's pushed off, maybe we just push it off permanently, which eventually Moshiach is going to do that. But says the Rebbe, it's such an important thing. Moshiach is going to come so that we'll be able to eat. That's so important. We'll be able to eat. We won't be able to eat on the 17th day of Tammuz. You want so much. You want to have a hamburger or something. That's the essence of Mashiach. We'll be able to eat. Says no. The point is that the sadness of this day will be transformed to joy. Why will it be transformed to joy? Because everyone in the world will feel godliness. Something like how the curses of Bilam were transformed to blessings. Blessings are a good thing. When a person is blessed, so ideally, I mean, if a person is a good person, so he wants good things. He wants a family. He wants to have the pride in his children. He wants to see a good world. He wants to succeed. He wants to have happiness. He wants to have friends. He wants to have peace in the world. Those things have not yet been achieved. Everybody senses that maybe that's a good thing. Sense a good thing. So that's, even though there are people who enjoy, destruction. There are people that enjoy destruction, that enjoy death, that enjoy this whole woke movement and things that they enjoy destruction. They're against life, they're against family, they're against society, they're against everybody, right? The same thing we saw in just a couple of generations ago. The Hitler and the communists, they killed hundreds of millions of people, right? Hundreds of millions of people. Okay, there are people like that. But ideally, all those people, that's like Bilam, the power to destroy. But eventually, just like Bilam did, eventually they'll all be transformed. By means of what? By the Jewish people. The Jews are put in this world to make the world a good world, to make us value life, family, society, property, the individuality, uniqueness. But that's where the Jews are here, that every person is a miracle. So that's what it means, transforming the fast day to a good day. It means not just that you can eat now, you don't have to suffer because you want to have a sandwich. It means that we won't have to suffer from all reality. Reality won't be suffering anymore. Reality will call to us. It'll awaken our responsibility to improve the world and our ability to improve the world, even by a good word, a good. I mean, maybe I want to say a short story before I start class. I go every day since October the 7th, so I go every day. There's a hospital right near my house, so I go every day, and I take 2 pairs of tefillin, and I go around the outside. There's people that are waiting on the outside. There's like a sort of a garden over there and a waiting place, and then there's the waiting rooms before people are actually going to the doctor. They're waiting. So I go around and ask people if they want to put on tefillin. I go for a half an hour minimum or maximum. I go like 45 minutes, something. Anyway, every day I go. So I have a lot of experiences. People put on amazing things, but once in a while there's something that really stands out. And yesterday was one of those days when a lot of times they take patients from through the halls. Either they're bringing them in, they just arrived with an ambulance, or they bring them from one department to another, whatever. They bring them into, usually they're bringing them from an ambulance. So usually they bring them in, if the people are on a bed, a lot of times they're unconscious, their faces, or they're always usually covered up to their so when they come up, if the person is conscious, there's also a lot of Arabs they bring. It doesn't make any difference. I say to them, God bless you. You should be healthy. You should have a complete, if you're a refuah shlema, you should be healthy. To everybody. Good. So a lot of people say, "Oh man," say thank you. This. But yesterday they brought in. I was standing in the hall. They brought in. It was an older lady. Maybe she was like in her 80s. Who knows? Maybe her 90s. A heavy sort of a woman. Her son was walking after her. You saw he was very worried, and she was just laying there, sort of like conscious. Her face looked like like how do you say, like putty, just sort of shapeless, sort of back. And I said, Tia Bria, should be healthy. All of a sudden, her whole face changed. She was looking. It was just amazing. Her whole face just changed, and she had this big smile on her face, and she suddenly looked like she was like 30 years younger. Instead of 90, she was like 60. She just looked all of a sudden, and she said, "Oh man, thank you." She said, "Toda, toda." It was a transformation I saw right in front of my eyes. I just said a good word. I don't know who the lady is. She doesn't know who I am. A stranger said to her, "You should be healthy." She opened up her eyes. A stranger say to a stranger in the street, "You should be healthy." It was a transformation for the good. It was like from a caterpillar to a monarch butterfly. All of a sudden this beautiful smile was on her face. She just said, "Oh, thank you." And she was like happy and she was alive. Okay, I don't know. To me, it was very amazing. It just shows that a good word can change the whole situation. And if this lady was suddenly in a good mood, so her son was in a good mood, and he told other people, and they become in a good. So suddenly the world becomes not such a threatening place, huh? So therefore, that's what it means, transforming the fast days into a feast day. Not just that we eat. The fact is that we see and make the world a positive place. From this, we can see these days, these 3 weeks of this year, they should be, because when the Rebbe was speaking, the first day, which was the 17th day of Tammuz, and Tisha B'Av, they both fell on Shabbat. So especially this year, so the fast was pushed off to the day after. So says the Rebbe, so therefore this year we have to make a special noise in everything which is connected, an advertisement, whatever, to learn about what the Moshiach is going to do, about Moshiach and the Geula. Geula is like what I said, to make the world, to perfect the world, to make God revealed in the world. These 3 things, the future redemption, the Moshiach, and building the 3rd temple. Now, really, it comes in sort of the opposite order. First of all, Moshiach comes, and he teaches all the Jewish people and brings them. That's the Rebbe's of Chabad. The Rebbe, he's the Moshiach. So they're teaching the Jewish people, bringing the Jewish people back to Jewish consciousness, and fighting against all the negative things which weaken Jewish consciousness and Jewish identity. That's the Mashiach. After that, it says the Mashiach is going to build the 3rd temple. The 3rd temple is going to come from heaven, it says. It's going to come from heaven. We're not going to build it. The 3rd temple is going to come from heaven with all of its vessels, with all of this. And then after that, there's going to be the Geula. The Geula means that all the Jews will come to the Holy Temple. Why? Because they'll all be awakened. They'll all want to do the commandments, and you can only do the commandments in the temple. So automatically, they're going to come to the Holy Land. They want to be as holy as possible. So it's Yaduam Mefursam. It's known and it's advertised by the Jewish people. Excuse me. Let's make this here like this. Many, many years that it's a custom in these 3 weeks that we add on learning Torah. And we learn Torah especially in matters of the Holy Temple. God willing, that's what we're going to do also. Al Yasod Divra Midrash, which corresponds to the words of the Midrash, Bo Ura'eh, come and see, Kashakodesh Baruch Hu, when God showed Yechezkel, Ezekiel, the prophet Ezekiel, all the plans of the 3rd temple. Ma'u Amar, what did God say to Ezekiel? What did he say? Haged Bnei Israel. God said to Ezekiel, what did he say? Go and tell the Jewish people, Etabayet, about this third temple. V'yichalmu me'avonoteim, and they will be, they should be embarrassed from their sins. Umadadu et ha-tochnit, and they should, I say, think about this plan that I'm giving you. Omer Yechezkel said, Yechezkel in front of God, Rabbonu Shalom, Ad Achshav, until now, Ana Natunim Begola, we're in exile. Yechezkel was, the temple was destroyed, first temple. Anachtu, the temple that has been destroyed. Be'eretz Sonena, and we're living in the land of our enemies. Ato merely, you tell me, Yelich v'hodia, go and make known to his prophecy was in Babylon, because all the Jews were in Babylon. And he says, you're telling me to tell the Jewish people about that they should think about the plans of the Holy Temple? What benefit is it going to be? They're able to make a temple. They're in exile. We're not in our own land. We don't even have the land. We have the land, right? Even let's say we had the land and we didn't have the rights, the non-Jews were living, at least we had something. Here we're in exile. We don't have anything. We don't have the land. We certainly don't have the freedom to make the. He said, therefore, Ezekiel said to God, we can't make a temple. What are we learning about the plans for? Just going to make them feel bad. Leave the Jews alone until this exile finishes. We're going to return. It says in the prophecy in Jeremiah, it says that there's going to be 70 years of exile. So Yechezkel said to God, you're showing me, giving me this prophecy and telling me to teach it to the Jewish people. What good is it going to just make them feel bad? Wait until they leave exile, 70 years. We're going to go back to Israel. And afterwards, I'll go and tell them. God said back to Yechezkel, just because the Jewish people are in exile, the Holy Temple is not going to be built. It is just as great to learn about the Torah about the Holy Temple as to actually build it. Learning about the Holy Temple simulates the building. Go and tell them that they should learn about the form of the temple, all the measurements and everything, and in the reward of reading about the temple, learning about it, I will treat it as though they are actually building it. In other words, the Jewish people are outside of Israel. The temple definitely will be built in Jerusalem, and it'll be built by stones and and bricks, and it'll be in the land of Israel, in the Holy Land. That's true. And it's a holy temple. Why is it a holy temple? Why? Because I said. God said, because I said. You're not, the holy temple is not holy because you decide. You decide you want to build a holy temple. It's like a big synagogue, and it's going to be beautiful. And it's not you. And in fact, you're not even going to build it. It's not even you going to build it. The temple is already built. It's already built in heaven. It'll be built in Jerusalem. So Ezekiel said, okay, so let's come back to Jerusalem. We'll learn about it. Why learn about it now? God said, listen, the same me that told you that the holy temple is holy, I'm telling you that learning about it is also holy, and you're doing the maximum to build it. You're not in Israel now, but you can learn the Torah about you're doing the maximum. I'll treat it as though you're building it. That doesn't mean that you don't have to long for Israel and long to have it built. What it does mean is that even though you're outside of Israel and you're in total exile, it doesn't mean that you should wait. I'll wait. God will bring us back. It doesn't mean you have to wait. And it doesn't mean you have to jump the gun either. Let's build the Holy Temple here. Maybe we can get permission. There was a story that there was a Holy Temple built in Alexandria, a whole crazy story. There was the argument between the Kohanim, but that place wasn't holy, right? You build the Holy Temple will be built in Israel, in Jerusalem. But when you learn about it here, it is as though you're building it here, says God. And we have to look into this relevant to learning about what the temple is on the 7th day of Tammuz. The 7th day of Tammuz, when it falls on Shabbat, the Shabbat really push away the whole entire time of Bein HaMetzorim. In other words, are you allowed to learn about building the Holy Temple on, let's say, Tisha B'Av or the 17th day of Tammuz? I mean, it's forbidden to learn Torah. One of the things you're not supposed to do is learn Torah on those days. Oh, Shabbat, maybe we can say, no, maybe if these days fall on Shabbat, then because of that, then you can learn, or maybe Shabbat just pushes away the fast. But the other things, and the other things that are bad, but learning Torah, you're not allowed. Okay, the Rebbe says we'll have to look into it. Anyway, according to what we said before, that's only relevant to the actual day of the fast days of 17th day of Tammuz. According to what we said before, that this year is special. I just want to look at something. Give me a minute over here. 1 minute, 1 moment, 1 minute. 1 minute. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. According to what we said before, that this year is a special year because the 17th day of the 17th day of Tammuz and the 9th day of these two fast days fall on Shabbos, so they're pushed off. In addition to the fact that our generation is supposed to be the generation of Moshiach, like the Rebbe just said, or it is the generation of Moshiach. So also is also stressed the good, which is in the 17th day of Tammuz, and the days between exile, the days between the 3 weeks, in these 3 weeks. Even since that we're going to be redeemed, Shabbat take it from me out, and it should happen any instant. So it's understood that learning these laws of the Holy Temple this year, they have to be in a totally different way. Why? First of all, we have to learn this in a way that with a feeling. I'm sorry, not because of the feeling of mourning and misery that we don't have a temple and that the reason that the temple was destroyed is because of our sins. No, that's not supposed to be the motivation this year, even though that's true. That's true, but that's not supposed to be what the main feeling of learning these laws. We're trying to work to fix up the reason that the temple was destroyed. That should not be our main motivation, Ella. What we should be thinking when we learn the laws of building the Holy Temple, it should be that even if there wasn't a destruction, Lulei, Mitzad Akosef, because we have a longing, Vishtokakut, and we have, what do you say, a lust, if you want to call it, Lahamala Vashlemot the Beit HaMikdash Shlishi, because of we want the third temple. The third temple. We don't just want to have returned the second temple or the first temple. We're not praying that they should be returned. We're praying that the topic of the temple should be returned, but in a totally different and improved way. Like it says, like it says, great will be the glory of this last house than the first house. It'll be a greatness that was never before, not in the second temple, not in the first temple, not in the Mishkan that Moses built. So therefore, there was not in it any destruction. And it came in a way of adding a completion to the Mishkan, something that was not in the tabernacle, something that was even lacking in the first temple, something that was lacking in the second temple, and not just in a way that it will return something that was there before. No, but to make something new, a new total revelation of God, not just in the Holy Temple, but it'll be in the whole world. The Holy Temple will just be the center. And even more, that what we're learning will be, when we learn these laws of the Holy Temple, it will be with the Yadiyah V'Hakara, with an awareness and a recognition and a certainty. These are just not laws of the days of the Mashiach. There's a lot of laws in the Talmud, especially, where they have an argument, and the rabbis will say, what's the law? And the answer is, Elijah the prophet will come and he'll explain. Until then, we don't have an answer. It's called Tiku, Tishbi Yeteretz Kushas Rabayas. Elijah the prophet, he's going to come and he'll answer this. Until that, we don't know what the answer is. That's called Hilchata L'Mashiach. There's a lot of laws which are only going to be revealed in the days of the Mashiach. Then also there's another thing is that we learn nowadays, let's say you learn Maimonides. So he has all these laws about purity and impurity, which are only relevant in the days of the Mashiach, when the third temple is built. So he says, okay, why should we learn these laws? He says, Hilchata L'Mashiach. Eventually Mashiach is going to come, and then these laws will be relevant. He says, good, that's true. That's a good thing. It says, but now when we're learning these laws about the measurements and building the temple, we're not just learning it because it's a good thing to learn. When Mashiach comes, it'll be relevant. No, says the Rebbe, that's true. But we should learn mainly because Ki'in halacha l'maaseh. It's something that's relevant right now. What do you mean right now? In the next second. How can it be in the next second? It's going to take time to build the Holy Temple, right? Says the Rebbe, wrong. Since that the Mikdash Atid, since that this Holy Temple, which is going to, that we're waiting should be built, Banui Meshuchlal. It is already built and completed. Kavar Ata, right now, in the spiritual. What this means, I have absolutely no idea. But that's the fact. In other words, reality, what we see here in front of us, this is real, but it's very, 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 very watered down reality. What is real reality? I'll give you an example. The third temple. The third temple is already built. It's complete. It's there. It's in some sort of a spiritual level. Not really spiritual. It's a level of reality that we don't perceive. It's all built. It's 100% there with all the bricks, with all the floor, with the ceiling. It's massive. It has tremendous details in it. It's already built. As Yigaleh, it will be revealed. The Yavo Min Hashamayim, it'll come from heaven. Where do we get this idea from here? Let's see, 90. This is what Rashi says. Rashi, who is pure law, down to earth, hands-on reality. That's what Rashi is. Not talking about Kabbalah or Midrash. Rashi says it, and also the Tosfos says it in Sukkah. Go over there and look. And other places also. In places in Kabbalah, there's a lot of places that it's written. But it's a Gemara in Sukkah, simple law, actual law. And the third temple is already ready, right? So it says, so it can come down Karega Kamemra immediately. The Rebbe brings up that it's forbidden, according to one opinion, it's forbidden for a Kohen to drink wine nowadays. Why? Because it takes 24 minutes in order to remove the effects of wine, and a Kohen is not allowed to serve in the temple if he's drunk. So therefore, it means that it could be that he drinks wine now, and all of a sudden the Mashiach, the Holy Temple comes down, and you got to go and serve. He says, wait 24 minutes. Can't wait. You got to go and serve right now. Can't wait 24 minutes. It means less than 24 minutes, it could be the change from how this world is, terrible world, and all of a sudden, boop, there's a Holy Temple in Jerusalem. How is that going to be? Absolutely no idea, but it's going to be. That's Jewish people, we're sure. No doubt. One of the 13 principles of faith. Moshiach is going to come. There's going to be the raising of the dead. You don't believe in it? You're missing the 13 principles, one of the 13 principles of faith. Al derech medubar, like it says, we said before, lately, especially learning the Torah in matters of Mashiach and the Geula. Learn about Mashiach. People don't know what Mashiach is. People don't know what Geula is. You got a whole big religion, 2.5 billion people, right? All of Christianity with a misconception, the definition of what Mashiach is. They don't know what Mashiach is. He's it. They all believe it. 2.5 billion people are walking around like blind cows. But whatever, some preacher stands up and says, do this, oh yes, we're going to do it, you're going to get saved. They're wrong. They just don't know what Mashiach is. It's been going on for almost 2,000 years, just bumping into each other with crusades and this. And then they have another billion Muslims that they also, the whole idea of what is Judaism, what's Mashiach, they have no idea. No idea. Well, Mashiach is going to come and he's going to wake up everybody. And everybody's going to say, well, okay, so we made a mistake. What's our punishment? Don't worry, no punishment. You didn't know. You didn't know any better. But from now on, get it right. Everybody says, oh, no problem. That's what's going to be. We have to learn now about the matters, the future redemption and of Mashiach. Lo betoch, not just that it's a segula, it's like a charm. Umahir, and it'll hurry up to bring the Mashiach and the redemption. No, the main reason is that we're actually beginning and to live in Mashiach and Gula right now. Excuse me. To live with the time. The days of the Mashiach are just like the Holy Temple. It's there. Maybe you don't see it, but it's there. Same thing, Mashiach. It's here. The redemption is here. Maybe we don't see it. I mean, I certainly don't see it. That's for sure. But nevertheless, the Rebbe is saying that open up your eyes. Try at least to open up some sort of a spiritual Jewish eyes, whatever they're called, not spiritual, Jewish eyes, and see. Just like you want to see the third temple, I'd like to see it. You can see Mashiach and Gula. It's already here. I don't see not any one of the three. But if the Rebbe is saying that it's already here, it just means that I have to be more positive. Don't let the negative things rule over my decisions and my attitude. And by means of this, the seichel, that your mind becomes filled and permeated with understanding. Mashiach is a topic in the Torah, and understanding what Mashiach is and Geula, what the redemption is. And you should begin with the Rambam, with Maimonides. I mean, his opinions about Mashiach are uncontested. There's a lot of things that Maimonides writes, and other people, great scholars, they ask questions and they disagree with the Rambam. They disagree with him. 100%. It's a good thing to disagree with everybody in Judaism. If you have a source, they bring a source, and then you can see maybe you're wrong, maybe you're right. So, but on what Rambam writes, Maimonides writes about Mashiach, no one disagrees with. No one disagrees with it. You could look at it, write down. What is it? How is it? The laws of. I skipped my mind. Look at this. Laws of kings. That's what it is. Laws of kings. That's what. Hilchot Malachim v'Milchamta. Laws of Kings. Write down Laws of Kings, chapter 11. Google it. Laws of Kings, chapter 11. Right, Google it. Maimonides, if you want to. You write that Laws of Kings, chapter 11, and you'll see that's the Rambam's explanation. What's going to happen with Mashiach in Mashiach Gula? You have to live with the times. We have to live in the times of Mashiach, and by means of this, that our mind becomes filled and permeated with understanding about ideas of the Mashiach and how it is in the Torah. From our mind, it will spread out and permeate all into our heart. And then from our heart, it'll actually come into our brain, thought, speech, action, in a way that's fitting to the time, these times we are now. That we're right at the edge of redemption. Especially what it'll cause us is to appreciate every human being and love every human being, just like God does. God does. But we have, a positive message to the whole world. God loves you. He's creating you. He's providing for you. Right? Mashiach is going to show the whole entire world how real this is. That we'll be able to even point with our finger and say, here, the Mashiach has already come. Says the Rebbe, we can also add on. Let's do one more. Here we go. How do we get up to here? Yeah. We can also add on the necessity of learning Torah, topics of the Mashiach, and the building of the temple. And this learning about it will be opening up the door to the coming of the Mashiach. Even though the rabbis say the Mashiach will come behesach hadat, Mashiach will come, how do you call it, unexpectedly. So if so, why? Maybe it's not a good thing. Maybe we shouldn't expect Mashiach or think about Mashiach. That's just going to push him away. Watch pot never boils. You're waiting for the Mashiach, not going to come. You're just pushing it away. Mashiach is going to come, right? He says, not exactly. Let's not go overboard. Mashiach is going to come behesach hadat. What does it mean? No matter how much we try to understand about Mashiach and how much we do understand about Mashiach, nevertheless, the whole idea of Mashiach and the redemption is going to be so incredibly good that we won't be able to understand it, appreciate it. That's what it really means. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be thinking about it now. Ein zeh stira, even okay, but let's take the simple meaning. Even though this says the Moshiach is supposed to come, when we're not thinking about it, this is not contradicting at all to thinking about and contemplating in a way of internalizing that you attach your feeling of reality and what is really important in Mashiach and Gula. To be thinking about it all the time and to be thinking about it in a real way. You really need it. First of all, to think about, we have to understand that right now we are standing and we are approaching, or we are in the beginning of the days of the Mashiach. Since that we've already finished all the projected times, Jews have suffered enough, and already all the Jews, enough Jews have done tshuva, and we finished everything we had to do. All of the details that we said before. It means, so what it means, Hesach Hadad, it doesn't mean you shouldn't think about Mashiach. It means that when Mashiach is going to come, as much preparation, as much as you understood, you're going to realize the goodness of it is above understanding. After you have understood as much as you can about Mashiach, and you're longing for Mashiach to come. And I just want to remind everyone again, Mashiach is one of the 13 essence foundations of Judaism. It's not just a weird idea that somebody stuck in, the rabbi stuck in. According to Judaism, it's the first of the 10 commandments. I am God that took you out of Egypt. God wants to take us out of Egypt, out of our spiritual Egypt, out of the exile that we're in now, just as he did back then, took us out of Egypt by means of Moses. He'll take us out of the exile we're in now by means of Mashiach. Because if not, why do we have to have the first of the 10 commandments tell us that God took us out of Egypt? We know God took us out of Egypt. It says in the Bible, God took us out of Egypt. That's how we got the Torah. God took us out of Egypt. Why does God have to remind? I am God that took you out of Egypt. That's the first of the 10 commandments. We must believe in God. I believe in God. God creates the world. Believe in God. No, not enough. You have to believe in the God that took the Jews out of Egypt. Why? What we have to believe in that God for? It's just because he's going to do it again. And when it does happen, and we should be expecting it to happen any moment, no matter how much we expect it, it's going to be a surprise. Harizen Naseh, it will be Lamaylam Yadat. Whatever happens, Mashiach comes, it's going to be a big surprise. What are we supposed to do? Limarot, even though we have to make a big noise and be excited about in the last time in this year. This year was the year, this is already, the Iron Curtain fell down, and Saddam Hussein rained all these big missiles on Israel, and no one was hurt, and then he fell down. After we saw amazing miracles that happened, and this is the year that Melech Mashiach will come, so we see that there's a little bit of a difficulty. What's the difficulty? Even though there's big miracles, and even though we've seen all these things which are abundant, and we see how God is favoring the Jewish people, but nevertheless we see there's a big difficulty. Lachdir, to actually internalize this awareness and this feeling that we are right next to the exile. That we will be living in it. We are living, we're human beings. What do you want? We're living in the past. All we're sure of is what was. What's going to be, we don't know. We've accustomed ourselves not to live in the future, which is a good thing. Not to live in the future, right? Don't be a dreamer. You're sitting, oh, if I was a rich man, if I was this, that. Don't think about stuff like that. You're working in a job, do your job. Now is what's important. Now is what's important. And appreciate the past, what happened in the past. The future is up to God, right? Says the Rebbe, not exactly. Not exactly. It's not exactly that way. Why? Because the future that we're waiting for is a promise to us. And it's the goal of Judaism. And even though that it's against human nature to really live in this future that's not here, one of the reasons is because it's lacking by us the really appreciation around the miracles, like the rabbis say, and the days we go out of Egypt, just like going out of Egypt, God said, I will show you miracles. So it's very hard for us to internalize. I mean, even when the Jews were taken out of Egypt, they didn't really internalize it. Right? We say they worshiped the golden calf just 90 days after they left Egypt. And that it says, I will show you miracles means two things. God says the days of going out of Egypt, I will show you miracles. What does it mean? I will show you miracles. I will show you. This is God himself will show miracles, not by means of a prophet or whatever. And number two, it means the beginning will be in a way that God said, I will show you. There will be all sorts of miracles will be in a way that you will see that it's only God that's doing it. It's got nothing to do with nature. And not only that, it'll be a way that it's not that first of all will be the miracles, and afterwards you will see God. First of all, you'll see that it's God doing it, and then you'll see the miracles coming. That's what's going to be in the days of the Moshiach, which is not the case if it's in the way of niflot erenu, like it is this year, said the Rebbe, Tafshin Nun Aleph, miracles. Then it'll be a miracle. It was a year of miracles. I will show you. Our year is, you can take away the nun. It's pelaot, and instead of aleph, put a hey. Miracles of the Creator. Okay, it's relevant to us now. Habore, niflot habore, niflot Hashem. Shemitrachshim, miracles we can see, and afterwards you'll start to realize that they're coming from God. People will meditate, contemplate, and then you'll realize, hey, maybe this is the beginning of something really, really big that's going to happen. And even more, that we didn't really see that it's God himself that's doing it. Hashem himself, Mara, God is showing it. Then you don't have to explain anything. And so therefore, kasha lifol, it's a little bit difficult to really realize that these miracles are from God. When the Jews got out of Egypt, so they saw God, but now we're just seeing things that happened, right? So the Iron Curtain fell down. So it was a big miracle. But you can say, listen, who put up the Iron Curtain? The communists did. They saw it didn't work. So it could be Saddam Hussein shot missiles. It's possible that one missile missed. One missile knocked the whole building down and no one was hurt. So it didn't happen one time. It happened 39 times, right? It happens that countries fall. So we can see, true, it's big miracles that happen, but we don't see exactly that God's doing it. What's the advice? How can we get out of this and see that it's really God? By means of learning Torah. By learning Torah and ideas of the Moshiach. Because the power of the Torah, the wisdom of God, is to change the nature of a person. That even when he feels that we're still in exile and the redemption has not yet come, but since that the person has not yet gone out from his own selfishness, his own normal way of looking at the world, but by means of learning Torah, and especially learning Torah in matters of Moshiach and the future redemption, you start to think, maybe I have to think differently. Maybe I have to think differently about what's going on. You start to live in the redemption. And you start to realize the feeling that, behold, Moshiach is really here. You have to. So what's the Rebbe want to do? The Rebbe wants us to think differently than everybody else. We have to think differently than everyone else. Everyone else is thinking you got to do something. You have to do something physical. You have to do something, right? And we're thinking, of course you have to do things that are physical. Like take an example in Israel. You have to have an army. You have to have soldiers. You have to fight the battles, right? But on the other hand, the main thing is Mashiach. We're fighting the battles because it's a temporary thing. It's necessary. We can't let people go in. God wants us to do things in a normal way. But that's like the tip of the iceberg. The main part of the iceberg is Mashiach. What is a Jew? What is the land of Israel? What is the Torah? What is the holiness? So externally, we have to act like everybody else and be soldiers. But internally, we're totally different and we're fighting the battles for total different reasons. Where should our mind, our soul, our emotions be? On Mashiach. That's what's supposed to be thinking. That's what the Rebbe is trying to bring us to do. And anybody who is not connected to the Rebbe will say, oh, come on, what are you talking about this for? Mashiach? That's old stuff. That's like old country stuff. That was the reason for the Holocaust, because we didn't fight back. We have to, right? What do you say to a person like that? You got a good question why the Holocaust was, right? Well, a good question. But nevertheless, here we are. We're Jews, right? And if we would have had an army, we would have activated the army. I'm not so sure. On October 7th, we had a big army. We didn't activate it. Right? The problem is who's going to activate? Why are we fighting the battles? What is the reason? What is the goal? What's the goal of fighting these battles? What are we doing it from? It says we're doing it, should be from God wants to bring Mashiach, and the goal is actually bringing Mashiach to make a perfect world. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow.